Welcome to the Go Pitch Win podcast, the show where entrepreneurs pitch their best business ideas to our industry leaders. Each week, one will move forward towards the grand prize, $10,000. One winner. So get ready. And now, here's your host, Greg Mercer.
Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Go Pitch Win. I'm your host, Greg Mercer, and today I'm joined by three guest judges. You guys want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Mike Jackness. I run a blog and podcast called Ecom Crew. You can find us at ecomcrew.com or Ecom Crew on iTunes.
Scott Volker, running a podcast, The Amazing Seller podcast, helping entrepreneurs start their own business, e-commerce, and digital products business. So Scott Volker.
Yeah. Steve Chu, I run an e-commerce blog over at mywifequitterjob.com and a podcast of the same name.
And over the past 6 weeks, we've had 12 contestants that we've narrowed down to 6. And one's going to be selected for the final grand prize of $10,000.
Previously on Go Pitch Win.
So week 1, the winner was Nate Littlewood from Urban Leaf. Week 2, we had Garrison and Shay with the Mason Jar handle. Week 3, Stephanie and Michael won with Poolside Creations. Week 4, Robert Wise won with Wise Fox Planner. Week 5 was Gino and Ben from Brand Creator. And finally, on week 6, we had David from Coolness.
2 will move forward. Who will survive?
Is there one company or person that you guys think's easy for us to eliminate right off the bat?
This is always fun and brutal because everyone obviously has a great business here. They got to this stage. But as I was listening through, the one that kind of came to me was Brand Creator. I think that they're going to have a little bit of a struggle. The $10,000 probably isn't enough to develop the full platform that they need. I think they're a little bit kidding themselves with the amount of funds it's going to take to develop that. So for me, that would be the one that I would probably eliminate.
I would probably echo that. I'm not going to say too much more on that, but for the same reasons. I didn't find that it was a solution that someone could just go there and have it bring back all that information. And so for that matter, I think that it needs to be developed more. And I think they're off to a good start, but I think they just have to do some refining.
I'm going to choose a different company, guys, just because I didn't want to
be contrarian.
No problem. That's how you roll.
I'm going to go with Wise Planner. I just think that that particular product is not really defensible unless you have a gigantic audience, which I didn't feel as though the person had. So it's going to be a tough sell because it's a commodity product and there's lots of them out there already.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're not supposed to be eliminating 2 here at this time, but I probably would echo the same concerns. I think that there's just no defensibility there unless you have a really large audience and a following for that particular type of niche and planning or whatever already. It's very easily knocked off. If people see stuff rising in the ranks with something like Jungle Scout and you're already selling that type of a planner, you could just print your own planner. There's nothing to say copyright or patent that. I don't know. I think that it's.
I mean, I think Greg could pull it off, like Jungle Planners. Maybe?
Jungle Planner, yeah.
But yeah, most mortals I don't think could pull it off.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I also think on that same note is there's a lot of planners stuffed into one. And I'm not necessarily sure, do we know that people want that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there might have been some, some research done, but is it really something that everyone is searching for? I don't know that. We'd have to take more, more research and stuff. But I think there has to be, like you said, some type of following or some type of person that puts this thing out or an influencer that gets behind it.
Yeah, I mean, he had a compelling story when he was talking about why you would want to put all this in one, but the reality is, like you're saying, is not everyone necessarily thinks the same way, right? So it's it might fit a small subset of what people are looking for, but definitely not going to have the wide appeal, I think.
I agree.
Do you guys think there's anything that Robert could do from Wise Fox Planner to make it more defensible without just growing a large audience that would be looking for this?
The only thing that I would think of is there would have to be some type of system that he would have in place that he could make, his own. You know what I mean? Like there would have to be something that was proven over time that by using and following this formula, you were able to be more productive or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
What I was going to say is maybe go to a university, partner with a professor who has some clout, and then get that name on there on the sales page and do maybe some sort of clinical trial. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool. What about, let's jump back to Brand Creator real quick. If you were those guys, that was one that Mike and Scott quickly called out that you don't think will move on to the final round. What do you think they could be doing differently that would make you guys like that particular product better?
Well, I think it's a great idea. When I first started hearing it, I was like, this is good. I like this because a lot of people do struggle with branding and color and all that stuff, right? That goes into a brand. Your story, your mission, your purpose. I love all that stuff. I was hoping it was going to be more hands-on, not just some checklists and it's going to give you back kind of like a templated thing. So for me, and I'm not sure how it would even happen. Like, I don't even know how you would do it. But if someone could figure that out, I would be a fan of that. And I would also recommend it because I have people in my audience that could use that because, you know, figuring out your colors, your logo, your branding, that can take a lot of time, and a lot of times you want more input.
Yeah.
So I was hoping for that, but that's what I would need.
I just don't think the AI is quite there yet. Like, I don't think that there's like a thing that can, like, all-encompassing, just like hand you over a plan without some human input.
Absolutely.
And once you start adding the human input into it, you gotta start charging more for it. And that kind of like their whole case study was like, we're gonna have something that's a freemium that we're gonna charge small amounts of money for, and it's like a no-brainer. And I also think that some of this already exists. We also own another project in a past life that was in graphic design, and I believe that there's something that's similar with like creating logos already that exists. So I think that there's already some previous stuff out there, and I just think it's a hard road to hoe. And that's what I was saying off the bat. I just don't think that 10K is going to even cut into that development cost at all.
I mean, all the large companies in the Silicon Valley, they start with these grand dreams, and that's actually what they have. And perhaps their idea is a little bit ahead of their time. And what I would probably start doing if I were them was maybe a little bit more consulting work until they have enough data to feed into the AI engine. Maybe, you know, over time, 10 grand's not going to even make a dent in that sort of work.
I mean, you have a background in Silicon Valley. I mean, what do you think as far as development costs that's going to take to get off the ground?
To make it completely automated, yeah. 10 grand is like, you might be able to.
You're talking about like a $500,000 or something, right? Or
probably more than that, yeah.
$1 million, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're in a general consensus then, and we can go ahead and strike out brand creator and Wise Fox planner. Thank you guys, but you've been cut. That was my little Shark Tank.
Yeah. You're dead to me.
You're fired.
You're dead to me, yeah. So we're left with Urban Leaf, which is Nate Littlewood, the Mason Jar handle, as well as Coolness and Poolside Creations. So as a reminder, Urban Leaf was the wine bottle that grew herbs, or a device to insert into a wine bottle to grow herbs out of the top of it. The Mason Jar handle, just as it says, screws on a handle that screws on a Mason jar. With Poolside Creations, Stephanie and Michael's product is a Triton unbreakable wine glass. And David's product, Coolness, is a patented face protector to protect you from the sun. And he also has a few other products. So out of these 4 companies, which ones do you guys like? Which ones do you think doesn't have as strong of a future?
I'll go first, I guess. If we're looking to eliminate one more out of that 4, I would probably eliminate the Poolside Creations one. The other 3, I think the reason that's going to be fun to debate, it's going to be tough, I think, with the other 3, and we'll see where these guys' heads are. Yeah. But I'm looking for defensibility, a patent, something unique that's never been done before. I think that Poolside Creations actually has the best potential as an Amazon FBA business, which we all do, and I'm excited for them, and I think that they're going to be very successful. But you know, one of the things that they mentioned in their interview that I watched, they were using a just off-the-shelf, basically private label product. I think they found at the Canton Fair or something similar, and they're looking to get exclusivity in the U.S. and trying to get their manufacturer to be able to do that for them. But they don't have that yet, and even if they did get it, again, it's not really defensible. There's other Poolside or unbreakable wine glasses out there. It's a great niche. They went into something that's competitive. They're crushing it. Like I said, I think that they're going to be a successful business. But I think for a part of this show, looking for something unique, something that has a patent. I think that's kind of the future of e-commerce anyway. Something that also maybe has some custom ability to it, like the Mason Jar handle. So I'd be curious what the other guys think, but I would probably scratch
real
off
quick. What do you think? You know, Michael's a Somm. Do you think there's a lot of potential for him to create more Triton wine glasses that, you know, are shaped like the different like high-end wine glasses, like a Pinot glass and you know, Cab glass and a Chardonnay glass and all those types of things? Do you think with that added experience in that particular field, he has kind of like an unfair competitive advantage?
I do, but I just don't think that he's got anything that he can patent. Like, he can pick the best of the ones. Again, I think it's a great business. I don't think that they're going to have any problem being successful. I think these other ones, there's some question of whether or not it can ever take off, because we'll talk about that. But just the approach I was taking as I was thinking about, like, who should get this $10,000 and who even needs it really to kind of get their business off the ground. I think that these guys are already well on their way, and it's more of just a private label Me Too kind of business, even though they have a high quality product and I'm being hypocritical because I feel like I'm the same way. Like I'm looking for things in our business that we can do to differentiate and defend more. And I think it's, even if you're picking great stuff, it's going to be tough to. There's no patent or defensibility long term. That's my concern.
I look at that also, but then I also look at like at that, the product. Like, how do you know it's different by just looking at it?
Yes.
So it's hard to know that. So even though it is a great product, and you guys that, you and your co-host that day held it, and it was like you could tell, but I couldn't tell.
Right.
So it's going to be a play on getting it in people's hands. Not saying it can't happen. Like, do a free plus shipping, something like, what I mean? Like, you can definitely get it in people's hands. You good? Can I move on?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. I just didn't want to.
No, man, you're good.
So I'm gonna go along with that, but I'm also gonna add one that I'm kind of on the fence with, and it's the mason jar. I love the idea. I think it's fantastic. There's a lot of work going on right now to get it to people's hands. There's a lot of like production that's happening, and I think that can all be fixed. But I'm looking at one product. I'm looking at, could we have other accessories? Probably, but I'm also looking at it's a social media play. That's how I see it. Like, I don't think anyone right now, maybe in 2 years they are, but I don't see anybody searching for that as much as someone seeing it and being like, that's really cool. Or like you were saying, in certain areas, it's going to be more popular, like the country setting, right?
A regional thing,
in South Carolina, where I'm from now, it would go great. People are mason jar. It's like a big thing.
I just like the personalized aspect of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You can counter to a whole bunch of different occasions, like weddings, special occasions, all across the board. And that's something that a lot of people aren't willing to do on Amazon per se, because there's a lot of custom work involved. And so in that aspect, I think it's much more defensible.
And in that play, it's a little different, right? But then also it makes the business a little bit more complex, which is fine. But I think they even said they had like orders for like 300-400 for businesses.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're creating a product now that could be used as even gifts for business events, right? And that's cool. But I'm looking at it as, and again, I'm not ruling that one out 100% right now. But that's the only one that I was thinking of. The poolside creations, I would say also, I would agree with you. I think they're going to do great as a private label brand. But the way that they could step that up is they would have to get other influencers behind it. To help them and to make it known that it is. And like you said, adding in those other specialty glasses would be another thing. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, my take is with poolside creations, I think someone came up to me maybe a couple months ago and wanted to sell these unbreakable wine glasses. And I just kind of looked on the front page of Amazon. They all look exactly the same. And there's no differentiation. The thing is you might find a good product and it might be good for a couple of years, but unless it doesn't really stand out, pretty soon like the knockoffs will start coming and your profits will erode over time unless you have that defensibility. Even if you start releasing different versions of the same thing, they're just going to look like other wine glasses that are already out there.
You do a lot of customization at Bumblebee Linens, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that gives you, do you feel like that's pretty defensible from Amazon, since that is a road they haven't really gone down?
I think that's our value add, and it's actually a real pain in the butt to embroider. So we have these machines, but they jam up. We have to have someone running them and that sort of thing. And in volume, I don't see that there's a whole lot of people that are going to be willing to do that sort of thing.
I actually look at the complexity as an opportunity moving forward.
I agree, yeah.
We're working more and more towards doing that stuff. We're actually getting ready to get into some customization stuff ourselves. I think that in the future, like you kind of like need to like look at where the puck is going, kind of thing, and more people are kind of going into this crowded FBA space where all providers of content on how to do this stuff. And I think there's still a really amazing opportunity there. Like, I mean, for years, but I'm always thinking years down the road. And I think of the frustrations I've had in my business, which is like you release a great product, people see that, and then they start doing something very similar. And if you have something that has a patent and more defensibility or customization and these things, I think that that's going to help longer term and help you have a more reliable, like long-term sustainable business. So I'm a fan of the mason jar handle. We'll talk more about that, but
I'm a fan. It's just I'm looking at the business as if I was to go into that business. Is the 10,000, is that going to get them to that next level? Not sure. I love the product. I'm going to be a customer of the product. My wife will be a customer of that.
Is that when you would knock off at number 4 here?
I don't know. I'd want to talk more about the other ones, but it's on the fence for me.
Okay.
But I love the product. I love them. You know what I mean? It's a great story and all that. But that's just one that I had some extra questions on.
So when we're rating these companies, are we kind of taking into account the founders' personalities as well, or are we just talking about pure
It's hard not to, even if we're trying to, right?
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I'm taking into consideration though too, as well, is even like what's the mission? What's the thing? And some of the ones that we'll talk about afterwards, some of them have a cause, a mission, a purpose. And we're talking about, brand creators, right? They're doing that for brands because it's so important. It's an advantage now, when we can add a personal story of why the product was created.
Yeah.
What purpose is it? Like, Coolness was created also because his father had cancer. And he knows what that does.
Talk about personality. I mean, the guy is a hustler. Reminds me a lot of all of us, actually. Right? We're all
Dave's
like,
great.
Yeah.
But so I'm looking at that aspect too. But I think totally whoever's creating it, because that's also the person that's behind the business. So yeah, I do think so. The people
like
behind
the Coolness guy. Just give him money. It doesn't matter what the product is. He'll probably be successful. Right?
Just out of sheer hustle.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about Coolness a little bit. What are you guys' thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I resonate a lot with it. I'm a big tennis fan, tennis player.
You play tennis?
I do, yeah. Not as much
Surprising,
anymore.
isn't it?
I know.
Really?
Not anymore.
What are you trying to say there?
Yeah. I did. I was really into it when we lived in Cayman. That's like all I ever did, all I ever thought about. And you're out in the sun all the time. I actually started playing night tennis because of the sun, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
But when you go to the U.S. Open or even at one of these big tennis events, you're out in the sun all day long. I'm a very fair person, obviously. I can really relate to that product. I think that tennis and golf, especially, these are like outside all the time sports. I look at the Amazon listing, I listen to your pitch, and like the message is just like spaghetti. And that's one of the things we can talk about. But the product itself and the potential, I think, is definitely cool.
I think his thing is really getting focus, and I think from there, once he does that and he starts focusing on that one. That one niche, I think he could do really, really good things. There's a huge play there, but he's got a great cause too. You know what I mean? Like he's doing it for the right reasons. He's got a ton of connections. But anyway, that's.
I think the connections are the key, right?
Yeah.
If you were David, what would be your next steps to get Coolness to the next level and continue to scale the company?
Focus, right? And I think he needs someone that he can bring on that can help him focus. Digital marketing, I think, is a big thing for him. He's got great connections to get stuff in people's hands at these golf tournaments and stuff, which is phenomenal, but he needs them to get it on their social platforms or their list of people and then get that behind it. But I think he needs the focus to figure out what niche it's going to be. Is it going to be golfers? Is it going to be kids activities? I know my kid, in playing baseball, his son was, my wife always put the sunscreen on your neck, it's going to get burnt, it's going to get burnt. You can make these cool for kids. It would be, if that took off, like anything, Under Armour, all that stuff, it's like crazy. Like you could tap into that market. But I think sports, but you got to focus on what sports you're going to go after. And I think if you made it really cool, kids would start wearing it, and then, you know what I mean? So I would just try to figure out what's going to be that focus and then just really drill down on that. And maybe not go so wide with all of those other areas. We can spread there later, but just not now.
When I looked at we were joking just before recording this, when I looked at the Amazon listing, I thought it was like a gang thing or something, right? It's like you got this, and there's not one picture there for sports. And like his pitch was, I play tennis, and like obviously, again, I resonate with a lot of the tennis stuff. And there's not one shot there of a guy like hitting a tennis ball. And he was talking about like how he had like the #8 player in the world like wearing it, or the coach wearing it. At the PGA, he had some, and that's not there. And I think if you try to make it everything to everybody, like you end up, like you said, with focus problems. I agree. I think that you just drill it down. This is a thing for tennis or golf or outdoor sports, and it would do a lot better.
And he has a patent on that too, I believe, right?
It was like provisional, I think you said.
So that's another plus.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that the guy was all over the place. And when I saw the picture of the product on the website, my first thought was, like, Asian people wear these welder's masks. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, because they're terrified of the sun, right? And so this product, especially those pictures, like Chinese people, like right off the bat would flock to this product, guaranteed. Because they have these bathing suits now that cover like the entire body. So he could start with sports. But I think like the larger market actually is just Asians in general.
I wouldn't know that.
I actually saw the full body suits in the Philippines.
Yeah, did you, right? Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That was just a random aside, though. Yeah. I mean, I think the potential for this product is really large.
I think you got a product in your hands, man. You can do the Asian.
I'll be the Asian face of.
Or he could come to you to be the face of the brand.
I could. Yeah.
There you go.
Tons of possibilities.
I just don't speak Chinese. That's the only problem.
Would you guys continue to? So if you were David, are you saying you would just double down on this face mask, the one that he has a provisional patent on, and that's picked up quite a bit of success?
Talk about focus. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but like he was mentioning focus. He was like talking about getting into other products as well, and you were kind of trying to ratchet him back on the episode. So yeah, I think that's like another focus issue.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was talking about possibly going after and just using Jungle Scout and finding some random products that could relate to it to lead people to his product.
Yeah.
I think there's other ways we can do that without doing that one thing. And I think, we're only looking at the Amazon channel for a free plus shipping offer would be amazing. And then leading up to that, especially whoever you're targeting, moms, whatever, for their kids or whatever. But yeah, I think there's a ton of potential for digital marketing with this thing. And then, building up. And then additional products, I think you also have, because he's got all the material and stuff. Now you just have to adapt it for different parts of the body or different uses. So yeah, I think he's got a great thing there.
I agree with you guys, and that's like the most defensible product since he has the patent on it. I also say probably like the most unique. I think probably what he found is, he's been trying to hustle, do whatever he can to sell his product for the past couple years, and then he just puts it up on Amazon. All of a sudden, it just starts selling well, and he's like, "Man, this is way easier. I should just launch a bunch of products on Amazon instead of having to do all this work, to get these other products to sell." I mean, what are your thoughts around that?
I think it's the 80-20.
Yeah.
Right. You can sell over here and you can sell over here and you might get a few hundred sales over here, but you got to double down on where you can. Now, that being said, I wouldn't double down and just say I'm going to sell on Amazon. I would do that, get it up and running, but then I'd start focusing on that next thing, not things.
He probably was influenced by the $1 million case study or mistakes, probably, right? Yeah, I mean, I would just use that money that he's making on Amazon and just kind of work on his brand and still, don't cash in on Amazon for sure, but just use that cash.
Take the $10,000 and sponsor an athlete or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the word out that way or something. But stay on one product.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do love David's commitment to his company. What did he say? He made one real estate commission or something.
$100,000. And he bought 50,000 units.
Yeah, that was awesome. Spent all his money on 50,000 units, going all in.
Yeah. So and at that point he's like, I've got to sell these things.
Yeah.
So let's go do it. And he is a go-getter. The only problem is he'll do everything, and from that, that makes you do little because now it's spread out amongst so many different things. I just think it's focused. We all struggle with that. I mean, I'll say, here on camera, I do. But I've got a team now that helps me kind of, no, Scott, back over here.
Let's talk about Urban Leaf a little bit, Nate Littlewood's business. So again, this is a little, you call it a plug, I guess. It goes in the top of a wine bottle. It has a seed from a type of herb in it that starts to grow. This one, again, is either patented or patent pending. What are you guys' thoughts on this product and this company?
I thought it was more like a gift type of product, not really a practical thing. So I would think that around the holidays it would sell pretty well, but maybe throughout the rest of the year it's more of like a hobby type of gift.
Yeah, he started out his presentation about world hunger and all these types of things. And I'm looking at this and this is a awesome gift. I can see people buying this thing for a gift, but I don't know if we're going to quite be curing the world's food problems.
It's probably good for a cup of tea or right. It's I haven't seen the product, but
it can't grow vegetable plants or
it's like herbs
other large plants. It's small herb type plants.
Right. And when I first seen that's what I was starting to think that it would have been. I think it would have been better if you could have had vertical garden or something like that. A lot of people don't have the space. And then you're talking about food, but not just herbs. So I love the idea. I think it's creative. I think he's done $80,000 so far. At least that's what it was. So great start. But like you said, I think the cause is great that you're trying to go after a cause. I don't know if this, will help that cause. It'll help it a little, but it's not necessarily to me as big as they want it to be. I think you got to shift that a little bit. I think having the cause is amazing because whenever you tie a cause to something, it definitely does resonate.
The cause kind of conflicts with the people he was targeting. He was targeting people with small apartments or whatnot, right?
Yes.
And even to grow a salad, I think you just need the room to do that, right?
Yeah. And I also thought that they had a focus issue as well. They started getting into this whole concept of a marketplace and other stuff, and I was just like, I don't know, man. I'm very passionate about the cause myself. I think that our food supply is kind of a wreck, and people need to be eating more fruits and vegetables, and having this stuff around you makes you think about it and kind of takes away the cognitive dissonance we have with our food supply. But I also didn't get how is this product going to become a 7-figure business? I don't know. It didn't quite mesh with me all the way.
I can see it turning into a 7-figure business, but certainly not coming close to the grand vision that they had.
Maybe not an 8-figure business then, or mid-7-figure business.
Well, I think it would take some adjusting, and I think it would just be pivoting into another area. They've got the right idea, but now we have to get into a little bit of a bigger market, I think.
Yeah. And I think if you look at like, if we're like looking at product by product here, like the things we're talking about right now, from like the coolness to the mason jar handle to Urban Leaf, like which one of those products can sell the most?
Sure.
I think we probably can all agree that the Urban Leaf one probably is not the one that would sell the most of that one SKU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he have more
I
than one
might
SKU?
disagree with that.
Does
Do
he
you?
have more?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd love to
think
hear
he only
your thoughts
has
on it.
one right now, but
Okay.
expanding to more.
Okay.
I see the Urban Leaf product as like a huge addressable market. You know, when we think about like what are those things called, like chia pets?
Oh, yeah.
and,
That's true.
Yeah.
like all types of little like novelty growing type items like that. I mean, I can see that potentially having a larger market than the coolness or the mason jar handle.
Interesting.
In my opinion, the mason jar handle would probably have the smallest. But yeah, I think a lot of that's how you position like the marketing. And I mean, I think if I was him, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with just positioning it as like a cool little novelty item. Like, it's fun for your kids to watch this little, you know, these little plants grow out of a wine bottle.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's kind of like, what's that fish that you used to put up on your wall and the thing would talk?
Oh yeah, Billy Bass.
Yeah.
Why do I know that?
I don't know. My father had one down by the lake. But yeah, I look at it like that too. But you're also playing on the novelty aspect of it, and it is definitely going to be seasonal, I would think, because gift giving. But with that being said, if it did take, you're absolutely right. That thing would blow up. But you're not necessarily playing on the cause. You're playing on the novelty side of things.
Right.
Which
I could see
I
it
would
doing
just go
well
for.
on like QVC. My mom would probably buy it. She watches QVC.
Nice.
I think we even had a chia pet actually.
Oh, we
you're
had
joking
one.
about
We
it.
had one. Yeah. I think I got one for Christmas.
Chia.
Nice.
So they need a cool little
Yeah, they need a
tune
little-
like
little
that.
jingle.
Yeah,
There
a
you go,
jingle.
Yeah.
That's what Urban Leaf is missing, a good
Yeah,
jingle.
get a jingle.
So. Is there any clear winners or clear losers out of this group to you guys?
It's tough.
I think I would eliminate Urban Leaf probably for the reasons we've already discussed. Outside of the chia factor.
Yeah. You know, coming in here, I wouldn't have said that. Hearing everyone talk about it has helped me. And I agree with you. I think if their play is novelty, then yes. If it's going after the cause, then no. So that's what I'm fighting with. The mason jar, I think, is cool. And I think they can do really well with that. So I've kind of changed my mind on them a little bit coming into this room. And I'd like to even be sold more on them. But I would probably, at this point, agree with Steve on this one as well. Just from what we've talked about here today. That's where I'm at. Where are you at?
I'm on Poolside Creation still, as far as eliminating a fourth. Yeah.
It's tough for me because there's a lot of competition there.
Yeah.
But if they do the right play, I think they could do it, but they're going to have to get it in the hands of the right people, and they're going to have the right influencer touch that thing.
Yeah.
But I think they can still crush it and blow it up, even if they just go out there and hustle, because there's a huge market for that. Wine is such a huge market, and then we get into different styles, and it's a whole nut. So I am on the fence, but I'm thinking as far as if we're only going after for their cause, if they're not willing to go off of their cause of like their grand plan, Urban Leaf, then I think I have to say probably them.
Urban Leaf. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Urban Leaf is willing to go off their cause.
They are,
And
okay.
Nate seemed like a guy who was like pretty strong in business acumen in general.
Okay.
So I'd actually be fairly confident as him in a founder.
I feel like the whole first half of the presentation was just all about the cause, though.
That's why it made me feel like they were
Yeah.
so tied to it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
That was the
Yeah.
passion.
Like I can't
that was
change
the
their
message.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might be right. So it sounds like we might be a little bit divided on that. What about, is there one or two clear winners that we could all agree on? It sounds like mason jar handle, a lot of love for them, a lot of love for coolness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone think one
for
of those
me,
two?
I could pick two top ones. For me, it would, like, if we're gonna get down to the debate of who's gonna win this thing, for me it would be between mason jar and the coolness.
Mason jar and coolness.
And I honestly could be swayed still on either one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah. Both of those two.
Yeah,
For me
I
too. For
like
sure.
those two.
Urban Leaf's in my top two.
Really.
Your top two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you
And
have a
then-
chia pet as a kid? Is that?
No, I didn't. I guess that's the reason I like them. I felt like I was missing out. I need something like this.
I was sitting here thinking like of another way to word this, and I was just like, if I was in a situation where someone said, Mike, like you've got $0 in the bank, your business is gone, you got to like take one of these like 4 things that we have left and run with it and make a business out of it. I probably would take Poolside Creations.
Right, because it's
like,
more immediate return.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like I'm
a good
conflicted
I
with
also
that.
like the enthusiasm of those founders also.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about
Great
that, right?
enthusiasm.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I mean, they are go-getters.
Yeah.
They're go-getters. They're hustlers. They're trying to make stuff work. They sent gifts to our office, trying to sweeten up the judges.
Well, they didn't send gifts to my office.
Yeah, well, they should have thought about that.
There were 2 things. I didn't know if I was going to bring it up today, but there was 2 things that bothered me about that pitch. The one was when you had asked like what their sales were, and they got like really coy about it. And there was like also like I only listened to the audio recording. There was something in some box, and I love the reference to the was it 7? I think what's in the box, but like I want to know what's in the box. Like you're coming to pitch, and, like I just like I think it's always like weird to like you're asking for somebody to win a pitch or whatever, and then like you're going to not disclose certain information.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just kind of like felt weird to me. That one thing was just I don't know. It was just a little bit weird.
Okay, that's fair.
What do you think the 8-figure product is here? Like
that's a great question. Yeah, that's a great question. An 8-figure
I say coolness.
brand. Yeah. I think I'm going to agree with you. I think I am, because I think it has a great appeal for. I'm going in for the kid because my wife was big on like cover up that neck, like
right,
no sun cancer, So I see that as a big play, and I see him having great reach.
I mean, it has broad-based appeal.
It really does
to everyone. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
I mean, especially Asians.
Yeah.
Can I sell you on why I think the Mason jar handle also is an 8-figure product?
Yeah.
Because I agree, first of all, just to be on the same page, I agree that the coolness has definitely got that potential. I think the Mason jar handle has the potential as well, because I think it could be equally become like ubiquitous, where like, again, anybody that has Mason jars, and I've lived in communities where like every freaking beverage was drank out of a Mason jar, whether it was iced tea or lemonade or adult beverages. I love the customization angle of it. I love the fact that you would buy more than one of them. Like you would you'd buy them for yourself, gift them for others. You probably need more than one. You probably wouldn't just buy one. You'd buy sets of 4. And again, I think, I'm not comparing this to coolness, because I think coolness also can be an 8-figure product. But I really think that, and I think that the barrier to explain this and people kind of getting that aha moment is really easy. Like I think that you're right. It is a social media play.
It is.
We're not talking about like what's the biggest Amazon business here. We're talking about what could be the biggest business.
Right.
I think that if you saw a really well put together social media video, it would just be like one of these products that you wouldn't have to do free plus shipping or any other crap. You could just sell them right away.
Yeah,
I want this
you would
now.
see it and know.
Yeah.
Like an easy video of it just being put on, you drinking it by the pool.
Yeah.
Poolside Creations. Hey, maybe a partnership.
There you go.
And I think the overall market size for the coolness product is larger than the Mason jars, right? Because
I'm just trying to say that like I think they're both. I'm not even trying to compare both. I'm just saying I think they're both 8-figure. Potential 8-figure businesses, like just trying to think of different ways for us to kind of get over this hump and what we're going to ultimately pick as a winner. So I was like thinking of the angle of like what business would I take today? Now I'm thinking like if we look at which ones could potentially be 8-figure businesses, I don't know that
I agree with that.
Poolside Creations can ever be an 8-figure business. I mean, maybe it could be, but I think it's going to be a much tougher road to hoe. Greg seems to think that Urban Leaf could be. I would be out on that camp, but I do see the potential. I could tell a story really easily of like how both Coolness and Mason jar handle could be 8-figure companies.
Sure.
No, I agree. And I mean, heck, let's face it, you could take the Mason jar thing and you could see that on QVC.
Yeah.
I mean, you totally could. I mean, that would sell like crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I agree. You guys have sold me because I was thinking to myself, just social media, fine, but you're right. I think it does have a mass appeal to certain audience, but I think that audience is huge. I really do. And the customization part of it too, that's hard to do, so you're not going to have as much competition. You're going to have knockoffs that are going to come up with handles. We know that. That's going to happen.
Patented. So, I mean...
They believe they have a pretty defensible patent. I guess it's like a patent of where the handle attaches to the threads, and they believe it's pretty defensible.
Okay. So, maybe, you know, but... You know how that goes. People can work around that and get a lawyer that says, just make this one thing and you're fine. And so, but I still think that they've got a really good head start, and if they customize it, that even makes it a harder thing to do. So I'm on board.
It's fair
I
to
just
say
want to
that,
bring something up. Are we
Yeah.
taking into account the founders? Because we're giving money to people. We're not running these companies, right?
Yeah, I think we have to,
So-
because we want to give the money to what we believe will most likely be the most successful company or can most use the money to do so. And just like when VCs are making investments, you know, like in young tech companies, the founders' experience, the founders, will to desire, to do well, all is taken into account. So I think we are too. And Garrison and Shay, they are
they're awesome.
It's hard not to like them, right? I mean, they're just like the all-American sweetheart couple.
I had a smile
They
on my
work
face
hard.
the entire rest of the day after I got off the phone with them. I was just like, oh man, they're so awesome.
Yeah, they are awesome. They're just like in their shop, like they're doing a lot of the work themselves right now.
And doesn't she do? Isn't she a seamstress as well?
Yes.
And on the other side of the wall. So
exactly.
she was saying on the other side of the wall, we do that as well. So they're hustlers, for sure. You know what I mean? So, like you said, I think you do have to look at that, and I look at them as they're definitely going to do it. Whether you help them, we help them or not, they're going to figure it out.
And the Coolness founder has that hustle also.
Oh,
He just needs someone to rein him in a little bit.
That's all. He just needs, hey, get over here, this lane. You know?
He's going to drown himself in opportunity.
Yeah. And that's what he needs to fix. Yeah. One last question on poolside creation. It's poolside creation. Why is it poolside creation?
The name, if I remember correctly, came from because it's an unbreakable wine glass.
I got it.
So it's good for.
I get it, but now I'm thinking to myself, they're for the pool and only for the pool.
Yeah. I brought that up because they were talking about launching another brand that was more like winter creations or whatever, but it was like branded for like a cold environment. I think I gave him some advice, was like just ditch all that and just make like more of like a high-end wine glass type company.
Right.
Forget like the whole pool branding part of it.
The poolside name actually cheapens it a little bit.
I agree 100% on that, because I'm thinking to myself, you could sell like pool nets and furniture and see, so I'm thinking like they're not going to be known as that. They're going to be known as, oh, that's where I can get my my net for cleaning out my pool, right? And all that. It really does, and I agree. To me it cheapened it. Yeah, it did. I don't think of it as high level or high, like high quality, but not like that name brand feel. You know what I mean? Poolside.
That's what they're. Yeah, that's what they're trying to compare it to, like Rydell, which I guess is like the really high-end wine glasses.
Well, but you don't get that with poolside creation.
No, you don't. Same thing with the branding. Like we have, my wife recently bought some like Rydell wine glasses. Like you open the box, it's like really nice packaging. It's like it's an experience.
Exactly.
There's very much more so just like a Chinese white label type packaging and experience. And poolside creations, I agree. So I think the branding and packaging could use some work if that's what they're going after, which is what I would do, like a high-end experience.
I think the only company of all of them that didn't have that problem was the mason jar handle.
I agree.
That's true.
Anything else, it was like, this is what we want to do. We're passionate about this one thing. Right. We're going to make a ton of these.
I'm not creating like beer mug handles.
No
it's just mason jar handles.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's, so again, where are we then, right? We've got issues with both of those companies.
I don't want to break the rules, but I think that we've actually eliminated it down to two.
I have two, actually.
I think that if we
I think two companies already had me a hello, actually. So right, yeah.
All right, it's eliminated down to two.
We didn't go into this with that, but we just made that happen.
This is what happens on a live show.
I like it. Eliminate down to two. Congratulations to Coolness and the Mason Jar Handle. You're going to move on to the final round, and we're going to let the community vote which of these two businesses deserves the final $10,000 prize the most.
I love it.
Oh, really? That's
sounds
good.
That's
what was happening.
Nice. Congratulations. That was phenomenal.
So who do you think of those two, the whole community is listening at this point, who would you recommend that they choose to win the prize?
I'm not gonna pick, but I'm gonna give some thoughts on both of them.
Let's hear
it. I think that both of them, as I was mentioning, I think both of them can be 8-figure businesses, which is really exciting. I mean, to have an opportunity with like one product, not necessarily one SKU, because the Coolness thing's probably multiple SKUs when you count in colors or sizes or whatever, but like one top level product. I think both of them can be 8-figure products. I think that, let's talk about some struggles from my mind. I think that the mason jar handle has that supply chain issue that we talked about. So I think that getting that streamlined and making it easy to for them to get the final product in, assembled, and be able to actually sell through 8 figures of product and be able to customize that efficiently is going to be a challenge for them, where I think the Coolness thing is just super easy. You can just order that. It comes in from China, boom, boom, on the supply chain. On the education side, it's like, how do you educate people with the Coolness mask versus, the mason jar handle? I think that there's a lot of interesting things to think of there. The reason I didn't want to pick one or the other, I would love to be involved in either one of those two businesses. I think it's a great opportunity. No, and I'm not, just for the record, I'm not suggesting that. Don't contact me and ask me to partner with you. My CEO would fire me if I could be fired from my own business. But yeah, I think that they're both really interesting business. I didn't want to take up all the time. I have a lot of other thoughts, but I'm curious what your guys' other thoughts are.
Yeah, no, I agree that both of them have huge potential. And now with the Mason jar, I think, again, as we kind of went through it, I've learned more even after listening to their story. And I think that they both do. I think the only issue on the Mason jar right now, not even the approach of how are you going to educate and get people like to see it. I think that's easy now. I think it's the supply chain. I think it's figuring that out, because before you can dial it up, you got to have that figured out, because if you get all the orders, that's great. But if you can't fulfill them, you know what I mean? So I think we got to figure that part out. Are you going to go in the direction of customization 100%, because that's a whole nother animal? Or do we start here and just try to get it out to the masses, and then we go into that, because that will allow us to at least get that momentum going, feeding the business. And then once we start to feed to the business, we can start to expand out on that customization part.
And I noticed you use the word "we" a lot there.
Oh, Scott's involved. You guys need to contact Scott. He's going to partner with you about it.
Well, the reason why I say that is because for me, I think Coolness has a larger market opportunity, but the founders of the Mason jar holders, they're more focused, right?
Yeah.
And so if I'm investing money in them, I'm pretty sure that they're going to continue on with their trend, whereas I'm not 100% sure whether Coolness will start diverging. So
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of customization, I was just sitting here thinking about this. You could customize the Coolness mask.
You
so
could.
so someone's name on it, or like a message on the inside of it, like from mom and dad or something, like we wish the best of luck in tennis or whatever.
Yeah.
There's some customization opportunity there as well.
I'm even thinking team sports. Like we always customize for like
Exactly.
travel teams.
Oh man, that would be amazing.
Yeah, for like travel teams, we used to. I mean,
Yeah.
and just for the record, like you're spending $3,000 to $5,000 for your kid to play a travel sport nowadays. They get all the accessories.
Baseball team, like
they
little
get
league
the
team
sleeve,
has,
they get everything. It's all your number.
Yeah,
everything.
that's
I was
a great
thinking
opportunity.
Chinese school. You could have the Chinese school.
If you were both companies, how would you spend the $10,000 if you won it?
Yeah, I think. Go ahead. You
No,
were gonna say something.
I was just going to say on the Mason jar, I think it's easy. It's the supply chain.
Yeah.
We got to figure that out. I think the other part will be easy.
Because right now, I guess they're like welding them together
Exactly.
at like their home.
Yeah,
place,
we got to figure that out.
You can definitely get those made in China, though. They said they were like really tight tolerances, but they just need to find the right factory.
Yeah, there's no doubt that can be done in China for a
for
fraction
less
of the
than
cost.
$1.
And then they would customize in the U.S., I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about the customization.
Well,
part.
they would
That'd
get
be
the
a little
raw
harder.
here,
Yeah.
like the base,
Right.
kind of like you're doing, and
You
then
laser
just
engrave
customize
them.
it here.
Laser, yeah.
And I think on the
Yeah.
customization front, that was another struggle for them, because they were, and I know this, like you want to be everything to everybody. You don't want to ever say no. But if they just you can customize it in black, like silver and gold,
Right.
and here's like your two fonts, and that's like your options. Right now,
Right.
they're like literally willing to do anything for anybody. They'll make it an orange and like
Right.
all
that's a rabbit
purple.
hole.
And,
That
So I think that's another thing. They kind of they have to kind of go with the keep it simple, stupid thing as they're getting started, and things are gonna spin up and get kind of hectic. I don't even think they understand. Like we've all been through this, where you start scaling and like all the other problems that come from that, and you don't need to have 1,000 different customization requests.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
Yeah,
you don't want that.
Right.
Yeah.
So for Coolness, I like what you said earlier, which was maybe get some influencers with his connections.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's got
that would
them.
just blow
That's
it
what I
up.
was
You just
thinking,
get
KY. For sure.
for sure.
Yeah. And it wouldn't be just getting them to wear it at, their golf tournament. It would be actually them to announce it and mention it and talk about it on their social media. And I would go after an influencer that just isn't at the one event. I'd go at one that has a following.
Yeah.
I'd find one that has reach.
Yeah, I agree. Because I mean, he's in a position where he could explode the quickest.
Oh yeah.
Because like the stuff's already in stock, and he has like 30-something thousand more units in stock, I think.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
He's ready.
He's ready, which is awesome. I mean, like that's a good spot to be in.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Margin's good.
Yep.
You can spend money on advertising.
Great packaging too.
I didn't see
He
the
does.
package.
Yeah, it's really good.
If I was the Mason jar handle with the 10,000, of course you need to figure out the supply chain part, but that shouldn't be too cash intensive. After that, I think I would go after Facebook and Instagram ads.
Yeah.
I think that they could work incredibly well.
Yeah, I think
like
so
just
too.
as someone that's done a lot of
Actually,
Facebook
the targeting
ads.
that would be pretty easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have to even it's like
yeah.
people in this state. Period. It's like simple.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that a really well done video, especially if they could get like user generated content where people are like that have already bought the product and like you show it in uses in different places, and then so it's like you kind of like show it like kind of going on, and you cut to like a bunch of user generated content, and you like show the other thing, or like you could show like picking up a hot glass and like burning yourself, or like picking up the cold glass and just like wiping off the sweat, and it's just like one of these like really like easy things to explain. I think that the ad could do really well.
I think you're right. And the nice thing about that is once you have figured out that system, you pump $1 in, take $3 out, or whatever, right?
And the audience depth is tens or hundreds of millions of people.
Plenty large enough, right?
I mean, that's one thing that we struggle with now. I mean, you get to a point where you got it's hard to scale something to 8 figures because you eventually tap out your Facebook audience, and you start to see this degraded performance pretty quickly. But I think with that product, they're not going to have that problem.
No.
Yeah, I agree. Cool.
We good?
Well,
I'm excited to see who's going to win.
Me too.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Me too. So between coolness and the mason jar handle, for everyone listening to this, go to gopitchwin.com and you'll find a poll there, and you can vote for one of these 2 companies to win the $10,000 prize. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Awesome.
All right. Awesome.
Congratulations, everybody.
Vote now for who you think should win the $10,000 prize. Head over to gopitchwin.com. Thanks for listening to the Go Pitch Win podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us an honest review over on iTunes. Do you have a new business that needs seed money or a new project that you're ready to get up and going? There's a $10,000 prize for the winning pitch. So what are you waiting for? Get your pitching skills ready and apply over at gopitchwin.com. Join us for the next episode to hear more great business ideas and, of course, find out who will win the grand prize to make their business dreams come true.